Okay, so the Gordie Howe Bridge is back in the news again, and it's ready to be open. But what's the holdup? Well, it's a dysfunctional next door neighbor. And when they're asked what's taking so long, they're saying that they have to do a little bit more testing. Yeah, it sounds like a stall tactic if you ask me. But today we're going to hear from the mayor of Windsor, and he's going to explain the situation to us. But it's not only our next door neighbor that's being difficult, it's our own Canadian grocery stores as well. And I have a report from CTV that talks about the continued maple washing. But wait, there's more. There are some grocery stores that are removing the Canadian maple leaf altogether, making it more difficult for us to actually determine what is Canadian and what is not. So we're going to get into all of this in this video. But before I start, I do have a request from the GTL community. One of our Discord viewers did bring this topic up in the server, and it's about how you subscribe to my channel. YouTube has the option to allow you to get notified of all my videos. If you have it selected to all, then you get notified of all of my videos. But YouTube has changed it without us knowing, and everyone now defaults to personalized. I know in the past I had some subscribers email me and tell me that they were never notified of my new videos, and what they actually had to do was search for my name and then find my videos that way. Some subscribers actually thought I closed down my channel because I was never showing up on their feed. So I'm just requesting the GTL community to check out on your notification status when it comes to my channel, and make sure it's set to all. That way you'll be notified of all my videos. And you might want to check this too with other content creators that you follow. I want to thank Cassie for bringing this up in the Discord server and letting me know I should remind the GTL community of this. Alright, let's get started with the first report on the bridge that's just like sitting there doing nothing.
The mayor of Windsor, Ontario is pushing back against U.S. threats of the new international bridge in his city, saying it should not open until it's right for Canada. The Gordie Howe International Bridge connecting Windsor and Detroit was expected to open this spring, but earlier this year, U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to block its opening unless Canada, which paid for the project in full, provides various concessions. Earlier this month, U.S. Ambassador to Canada said the opening remains one of the various irritants between both countries. Meanwhile, the Bridge Authority and Canadian government says its opening is tied to testing work.
All right, let's just be real here. Does anyone actually believe that it's being held up because of testing? If you ask me, that's a really crappy excuse. And I think it has more to do with the fact that once this bridge opens up, the Ambassador Bridge is going to see its crossings dwindle away. And the billionaire that owns it, well, we already know what kind of stunt he pulled. For my international viewers who may not be aware of this situation, this US billionaire that you're seeing on the bottom right hand corner of the screen, he knew his profits were going to dwindle, so he went to his buddy, Nutlick, and basically said, we need this bridge to be halted or like not opened. So then Nutlick went to his Supreme Overlord, and the Supreme Overlord basically put a halt on the bridge, saying that the United States needs their fair share out of it. Which, the Canadians, we paid for the entire freaking bridge, and once Canadians get their money back, it's going to be split with Michigan after that. I just find it comedic that the United States says that they need to get their fair share out of it when we paid for the entire freaking thing. So yeah, for my international viewers, that's the whole story. Don't we have such great neighbors?
I'm joined now by the mayor of Windsor, Drew Dilkens. Mayor Dilkens, good to see you again, sir. Thanks for being here.
Hi. Thanks for having me, David.
This testing, is that the Americans doing the testing? Because if it is, that feels like something could get held up in customs for quite a bit of time. What do you know about that?
Well, it looks to me an awful lot like that's an excuse, because when I drive by the Canadian port of entry and I've been by the U.S. port of entry, the pylons are gone, things look ready to open. And so I think that's just an excuse at this point to keep the bridge closed until bright minds prevail.
Now my guess, testing has already been done, and probably retested over the past year or two, and to me it sounds like the whole thing is ready to go. Now just now I explained the drama behind this bridge. Well, not from us, but from them. I mean with the US billionaire. I mean the billionaire is one factor, but the mayor is going to explain another factor on why he believes the bridge is not opening yet.
To what end? I mean, how do you see this being used in any kind of a leverage play involving the broader trade negotiations and cross-border relations?
Well, it is right from the playbook of President Trump, where he cherry picks single issues and tries to leverage whatever he can to resolve single issues. So think of it in the context of our CUSMA USMCA trade agreement, where we deal with all of these issues in a very comprehensive way. Well, the president likes to pull off steel. He likes to pull off aluminum and have separate deals on those two particular industries. And he likes to hive those things off and leverage his position. In this particular case, perhaps the leverage request is put U.S. booze back on the shelves in liquor stores in Canada, or some other subset of issues.
Now think about all the other situations where the Taco Tuesday guy is trying to hold things over the heads of Canada, trying to strong-arm us into a deal. He's not happy that we removed the booze from our shelves. He's not happy that we're shopping around and not considering the F-35s as the primary. And he's also not happy that we're allowing China EVs into Canada. And the latest one in the news? Pulling out of the Defense Board, saying that Canada is not putting in their fair share, which we have now met the 2 million as of March 2026. Everything I just mentioned is a bully tactic. Everything is because we are starting to do things our own way now. We're not moving away because we're trying to be difficult. We're moving away to protect ourselves. So the Gordie Howe Bridge is just another asset that he's trying to strong arm us into like making deals for other things. At this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if the bridge is closed for another 3 years. I mean, if you asked me 2 years ago if we would have a conflict over a bridge, I would have laughed. But here we are.
But at the end of the day, listen, no one wants this bridge open more than the mayor in the city of Windsor. I've been watching this and part of this saga for the better part of 25 years since the conversation first began. But what I'm hearing, it makes me feel uncomfortable to say that we have to give in and capitulate to the United States to see this bridge open, a bridge that you recognized we paid for entirely, that we worked with the state of Michigan as partners to construct what needs to be constructed on the U.S. side of the port of entry and the connections to the I-75 interstate system. So no one wants a bad deal. I'm Canadian at heart. I don't want a bad deal. This bridge has never been opened. And frankly, you know, it was built because for two reasons. For redundancy after 9/11, well, it's built. It could open tomorrow if it needs to open. And it was built because we had a forward-looking review of the NAFTA trade agreement and increased demand on trade. Well, we know Donald Trump with his tariffs on Canada are just a tax to U.S. consumers, and trade is down. And so if we have to wait a few more months until the climate is better and we get a good deal for our country, I'm satisfied to do that.
Right.
Now, I don't know much about this mayor. I mean, I'm not from Windsor, but maybe some of our viewers in Windsor can tell me a little bit about him. But he seems like he's thinking about Canada first. Unlike my mayor in Vancouver, who is only thinking about himself. I mean, I'm so glad there's going to be an election this year. But I stand by Mayor Dilkens' word when he says that the bridge is not going to open up unless it's right for Canada. So this never-ending soap opera for the Gordie Howe Bridge is going to go on, at least for another 3 years, I'm guessing. I think he was a little optimistic saying that it'll open up in a couple of months. But that's just my opinion, who knows? I mean, maybe a meteor might come down on the White House or something. And maybe after that, we'll have the bridge open. But I actually have a question. Is anyone actually near the Gordie Howe Bridge? If so, I'd like to actually get a picture of it. And I would love to use it as a backdrop for a future video. So if anybody drives by it or is near it, if you can take a photo and email it to me, that would be sincerely appreciated. Now, it's not just our next door neighbor that's being difficult. It's our own grocery stores as well. And this next report gives us a bit of an update on the maple washing situation. Let's check it out.
Sandy, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency tells us it has seen an increase in complaints about country of origin labeling since early 2025, what's come to be known as maple washing.
Do you tend to look for origin on what you buy?
Yes, I do. I try to get Canadian.
Trade tensions with the U.S. have many shoppers looking to buy Canadian where possible, and they tell us they don't appreciate attempts to maple wash.
People are trying to sort of vote with their dollars when it comes to what they want international policy to be.
It's not fair. It's not right. I want to know where it's coming from.
And I think a lot of us do as well. I mean, we don't want to be deceived thinking that we're buying something from Canada and, it's actually made in the United States. Unfortunately, I think our habits of checking the labels is going to be an ongoing thing. I mean, hell, I'm still checking labels out here in Malaysia. Although it is a little easier for me because there's a lot more local Southeast Asia stuff as well as Australian and European. But I still check. It's a habit for me now. But unfortunately, 15 months has gone by and I'm not really having too much faith in the CFIA anymore. I've always said in the past, we need to report everything. But if we're going to be reporting and nothing's going to happen, I mean, a $10,000 fine for Sobeys, they can make that in a couple minutes, right? I think these fines need to be increased. I mean, it's got to be something that's going to hurt them.
The Canadian Food Inspection Agency says complaints about maple washing are on the rise, 400 since the start of 2025 when the trade war heated up.
Okay, so that is an increase since the last time I talked about this topic. Because I think the last time I talked about this topic, there was only, maybe 150? But 400 is still not enough. I know some of our GTL community members have submitted and continue to do so. And I feature some of them on my channel as well. But it's not enough. I think we need to put the real pressure on.
Classic situations of false representations or misleading advertising.
Joey Zukran is one of the lawyers behind a yet-to-be-certified class action lawsuit taking aim at a string of stores with examples like a maple leaf beside a can of soup that says product of USA and tomatoes advertised as a product of Canada that say product of Mexico.
The allegations in the lawsuit are clear that this was done to attract or touch on the sensitivity that many Canadians Canadians have shopping, especially in these times.
Not all products at Canadian grocery stores are even required to have their country of origin listed. There's no official logo for Made in Canada, and according to the CFIA's own website, a maple leaf on a product doesn't necessarily mean it's Canadian.
Yeah, that's a load of horseshit if you ask me. I think the real problem right now is not with the grocers, it's with the rules and regulations that CFIA is putting out. I know Australia has really strict rules when it comes to labeling, and I wish we adopted that. But right now, the grocers are taking advantage of it, and obviously for profit. But unfortunately, nothing's going to change until the rules, the regulations, and the fines are at a strict level where these grocers are actually going to start to wake up and maybe like stop this shit.
We need stronger penalties. We need greater enforcement.
In addition to consumer confusion, this entrepreneur lecturer says maple washing is unfair to Canadian suppliers who can lose business in the process.
Some kind of a certification mechanism would help.
Of the big retailers, only Sobeys and Loblaws responded to a CTV News request by deadline. Both acknowledged some isolated incidents they say they worked quickly to fix. Loblaws companies were slapped with 2 of the 7 fines the CFIA handed out.
So Loblaws was hit with 2 fines. That's $10,000 each, $20,000. They can make that in 4 minutes? That's according to Todd Maffin's video. It's a joke if you ask me. But this next report, Sobeys, they're actually removing the maple leaf altogether, making it harder for us to actually point it out. Because many of the mistakes are them saying that it's made in Canada or has a maple leaf beside it, but the product is made in the United States. So removing the maple leaf beside product tags removes their accountability as well. But let's take a look at this report.
Something mysterious appears to be happening on store shelves at Sobeys across the country.
So it looks like the maple leaf symbol is gone from the coffee.
Those ubiquitous maple leaf symbols promoting Canadian goods seem to be disappearing.
No maple leaf here.
Steve Palmer has noticed it too.
The maple leaves are completely gone.
He's passionate about the Buy Canadian movement, so when he finds grocers promoting imported food as Canadian, also known as maple washing, he reports it to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency.
I do want the fraudulently labeling to stop.
I think we all do, because removing the Canada flags actually makes it harder for us. So I think I can safely say that a lot of us share the same frustration as this guy.
Over the past year, Palmer has complained to the CFIA about several imported products found at Sobey stores, like cantaloupe and nuts, that were promoted as Canadian.
That really upset me. It says California walnuts, and the label also says imported for Sobeys. There is nothing Canadian about these.
Standing united is important.
Since the Buy Canadian movement took off last year, Sobeys has used it as a marketing tool. But CBC News has learned the CFIA has received multiple complaints that Sobeys mislabeled food as Canadian, and that the agency recently investigated the grocer's head office. CBC visited several Sobeys-owned stores across Canada and found they had ditched the maple leaf symbol.
Finding Canadian products.
Consumer advocate Jay Jackson says it's hard to get inside the mind of Sobeys, but
I assume it's them talking to their lawyers and liability. They know that the government is watching closer.
It's not hard to get into the minds of them. I mean, I'm not an expert, but you remove the flags, no harm, no foul. It's a sleazy tactic, but it removes a lot of liability that's on them right now.
Since the start of 2025, the CFIA has identified 127 cases of maple washing involving retailers, but only 2 fines issued so far to grocers, $10,000 each to 2 Loblaws-owned stores. Another 2 received warnings.
I think we're well past the warning stage, and I would like to see significant fines.
Turns out that won't be the case for Sobeys this time. The CFIA says in response to its investigation, the grocer implemented corrective actions, so no penalties required. Sobeys did not respond to our inquiries.
So what can we do as Canadian citizens? I mean, I don't know, to be honest. Because this is not going to stop, and these $10,000 fines is laughable. So how do we get our Canadian government to actually look into this? Do we need to start a petition? Is there a petition already? I don't know. But I guess for now, the only thing we can really do is be more careful in terms of what we're buying. We can't trust the grocers, so we gotta check the labels ourselves. Or just avoid these big box grocers. Don't shop at Loblaws or Sobeys, and instead go with the independent grocery stores, or ones that actually care about our country. To close off this video, I would like to thank the Slacker for posting this photo on the Guard the Leaf Hey Cafe page. And this photo was taken from White Rock, British Columbia. And what you're looking at right now is the longest pier in Canada. I actually didn't know that, so thanks to the Slacker for actually mentioning that. But it is a popular tourism destination if you're heading to the Lower Mainland, so I definitely recommend it for anyone visiting my hometown. And thank you again, the Slacker, for posting this and sharing it with the community. Alright, that's all I got for this video. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international point of view, without the US media bias, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below, and also hit that bell notification and select all. And if you want to see more of my videos, check out the ones that are going to show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone, I'll catch you in the next one.